few of the things that I like had experienced that I think would be really cool for people to hear about is Mike talks about a lot about the phase meditations that I've spoken to you about, and throughout the meditation, sometimes I get like these involuntary contractions and things like that. And something I think that Mike's spoken about before was like trauma. And I know that's a really big topic, and how people can hold on to trauma for like the whole of their life, because they're continuously in this cycle of wanting to like heal trauma and heal trauma and heal trauma and do all the things.
We've been trying to heal trauma for like 20 years. Like, dude, when are you going to heal it?
And having like worked a lot in the yoga industry, it's still an industry, whether people want to think it's spiritual or not, it's still an industry, especially in the Western world. And I think people are continuously trying to like heal themselves through like trauma. I thought first of all, cool, like maybe you want to talk a little bit about trauma and like about the contractions and being like muscle memory, and what is muscle memory, and how it's not just like memory of movement, but it's also like events. Like we could think of the word ice cream, and our body would remember all the times we've had ice cream, all the different flavors, all the things, and how there's so much that we can like delve into in ourselves and get to know ourselves more from literally everything, and engaging in everything if we want to.
Would you give maybe about like 60 seconds to explain to the audience, when you do the phase meditations that we mentioned in the Discord community, the type of shaking that would happen? So like, okay, you go into the meditation and then what would happen, so they know, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. I have, so I do the phase 3 meditations every day. There's 4 phases, and I do phase 3, phase 4 every single day. It's something that Mikey specifically also recommended for me to do after about 1 month of being in the Discord. And even though the Discord is like a communal thing, Mikey and Lay and Sasha, they're very, very good at kind of spotting things, like not the one thing, but like to focus on, like to give more attention to, probably is the right thing. And for me, meditation, I had a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety and things like that. So I did a lot of phase 3 meditation, and probably from about 2 to 3 weeks in after starting that, I would get like full on shaking. And I still get it to this day during the meditation. I might get rotation, like my body's like involuntary rotating to the side. I recently like sometimes get like neck shaking. I can get like arm shaking, finger shaking. I get like upper back contractions as if I was doing like a rowing exercise. I get all of it, like core contractions, pelvic floor contraction, and it's sometimes
involuntarily, right?
Sometimes I don't even have my first thought before it starts. Like it's not even like I understand where it's coming from sometimes, because I haven't even had a thought. I close my eyes and bang, first contraction. So it's a very natural thing for me to process, like in terms of to do, because I'm not trying to feel that. Yeah. But I think it's really cool, and it's something that like I never thought I would experience. I've had a lot of experience in meditation before, but something about the phase 3 meditation really is helping me like realign. Like it's helping me restructure and become more symmetrical, without me trying to be more symmetrical or trying to realign. It's incredible.
100%. So what she's saying is like, whenever she'll go, because you have the 4 meditations, right? So you have phase 1 through 4. The third one has you go down and it brings up all this stuff. Whenever that stuff starts to come up, before she even has a thought, before it even comes up, her body will start like shaking a little bit. Oh my gosh, this is going to be so cool. So there's multiple things, especially with bodybuilders. A lot of bodybuilders, fitness people, and everybody else, they'll put layers on to protect themselves. A lot of bodybuilders are hurt, or there's something they're driving, like something has to fuel the energy to want to do a rep or a set. And it's usually based out of fear. So when a person's doing that rep, they're doing that to harden that part of them. They're doing that to protect that piece that they feel is vulnerable in them, and it'll create a shell or a layer over, almost like an onion. Whenever you go in and you do these meditations, it pierces through all those layers because your muscle is memory. So like look at life as like a movie strip. So you have frames, you have 24 frames per second. And in 1 second, there's 24 individual pictures. The position that you were in that frame is established within your body. So that's why bodybuilders look like bodybuilders, is because they spent each frame doing that bodybuilder movement. Runners, sprinters, CrossFit people, they all have a different shaped body. Swimmers and people like that. When you do this, you start to build these layers, and every frame is a layer that you brought onto yourself. That is that muscle memory. Whenever you go down into P3, phase 3 meditation, it pierces through that specific layer and it taps into that pocket of energy. These things are inside of you, whether you acknowledge them or not, whether you know them or not. Everything that's ever happened in your life is stored inside of you. Even though you may not know how to recall every event that's happened in your life, it is stored in your body because that's the only way that you've traversed through time. No point in time have you blipped out of reality and came back in. So you were always you through every event, and all of your body is constantly sensing. So, like right now, your legs are sensing, is there a bug on me? Your nose is sensing, is there snot running out? So your body's sensing every second of every day, every microsecond, every microsecond, millisecond, everything else. So your body is taking on this data, and every response to it is established. No, 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 until something does happen. That's why trauma is so ingrained in people, because for the most part, we actually have a pretty good life. 99% of our life, nothing is happening at all. But when the event becomes greater than our ability to process, it can be stored as trauma. Trauma is not even bad. If anybody has ever had trauma, in a sense, it should be me. Okay, I'm going to go down the list. I was touched by an older girl at the age of 6. My grandma's drunk boyfriend almost drowned me around the age of 6. I grew up alone, pretty much from 7 all the way to 16. I've been beat up and by gangs before. I've had gangs jump me whenever I was a kid, because we were so poor. I grew up in the ghetto that, at the age of 10, I had a gang member like beat me up. I had blood all over me and all this other stuff. I've had knives pulled on me. I've had guns pulled on me. I've had people who I thought were my friends steal my stuff right in front of my face. I've even had my own stepdad punch me in the gut. So like I've had so many different events in my life that if anybody could ever say traumatized, I would be the king of trauma. I've had it all, right? I've had all kinds of things. But it's not that trauma is bad, it's just something to be processed. So that trauma, until it's processed, will go into the layers of our body. When we do these P3 meditations, we will tap into that energy source, and it's just energy. There's no such thing as bad energy. There's no such thing as negative energy. There's no such thing as positive energy. There's just energy. That's all there is. And when you understand everything is energy, you can utilize it. There's no such thing as bad energy. It's just energy that a person may not know how to process or direct. So it may be bad in their approach to it, but once you understand how to garner and hone in and then direct that energy, you can then use it as a fuel source. So whenever Ro goes into these deeper meditations, her body will start to convulse and shake and kind of like, contract, because there's pockets of energy during that time of that event, whatever it may be for her. That's where the energy was stored. And you have this all throughout your body. Now, if you do not recognize these things before you pass, they will start to calcify because there's a surge of energy. That surge of energy can cause cellular degeneration, and you can start to harden those parts of your body, causing rigor mortis pre-death. This is why you see a lot of old people who are stiff. They're very contracted because the energy has become sour in a sense, or expired, and it's literally contracting the person's body. It's not just the lack of movement, it's the lack of awareness towards that specific area. And we have things all over. One thing for me was in my thigh. I had Lay doing a massage on me one day, and she was going in. She was going in for like an hour, 2 hours on my thigh, because my thighs were extremely like hardened, calcified, everything else. My muscles were so stiff, it was like poking a rock in my legs. Like my legs were so stiff that it was like poking there was no budge. Like my skin would not go in. It was so hard. And as she's massaging them out, a memory popped up out of nowhere that I forgot. And it was whenever I was around 6 years old, somewhere around there. A lot of stuff happened when I was 6. My mom, who was not in my life, she left whenever I was around 4. She had came back to my city. I'm from Houston. My mom, she lived somewhere else, and she left. So she came back to the city, and she's going to be about 2 weeks in my city in Houston. And she said, "Hey, we'll meet before I go," and everything else. So I waited on my mom, waited on my mom, waited on my mom. And then she's like, "Hey, 2 weeks, I can't meet you. I'm sorry. But next time I come out, I'll see you." So remember, I haven't seen her in 2 years. And then whenever she does come to the city, she's like right up the road from me. And I'm like, "Hey, you're here. You're actually in the state. You're actually in my city. You're right up the road. Like, come see your son." She still just brushes me off and says, "Hey, I couldn't make it this time. I got to go. I got to leave." So on that phone, I remember my mom. I remember like I just start bawling with tears. And I remember being this whole memory popped up. I'm like 31 or something like that. And this whole memory just flashed before my eyes whenever Lake hit that specific pocket of energy. And I remember being on the phone, it's like, but you told me you'd be here. You told me you'd come. And that whole memory popped up and I lived it, tears, like, you told me you'd be here. You told me you'd come. And it was stored in my thigh from the age of 6 all the way to 31. Well, now that I was able to process that memory and utilize it, it didn't take me 20 years of healing. It didn't take me 20 years of yogic practice and kundalini, all sorts of stuff. It literally took less than 5 minutes. I saw it, I processed it, and ever since then, now my thighs are more flexible. They're more lubricated and everything else. My skin is healthy there. I don't have any more pimples on my legs. I used to have like a lot of pimples and like discoloration and skin pigmentation there. And now I don't have any pimples. Now I don't have any tightness in my thighs. Now they're open. It's because my body was holding on to that memory because that was where it was stored. Why it was stored there, I'm not sure. Maybe I was sitting cross-legged when I was on the phone or something like that. But nonetheless, that's where it was stored. Every memory inside of you is stored somewhere as a pocket. And if you do not go proactively, this doesn't happen by default. You have to proactively go and search for it. It may be in your toe. It may be behind your ear. It may be anywhere. You got to scan and search your body day by day because there are memories that are subdermal, like staying inside of you. If you don't go and find them, they will ultimately, in a sense, dehydrate you. And how do I say this? Not physically, but like in a spiritual sense, and start to cause rigor mortis in your body, and it will start to make you contract. It can lead towards heart problems, cancer, all kinds of stuff. So whenever Ro does these phase 3 meditations, there's specific parts that will convulse because she's releasing the energy in that area. And as these thoughts come up, she's able to process it. As she's able to process it, then she can direct it. And as you direct the energy, guess what? Now you're using an alternative source of energy. I'm not saying don't eat, but now I'm saying with the food that you eat that you get energy from, you're also getting energy from the stored pocket of energy that's been in you that you haven't been utilizing.